We are the tribe from the north, we're brave and we're bold. Defeating our rivals never gets old. Making our way to the Big Sky Conference. Watch out, cause here comes the silver and gold. Whoa, whoa. This is Tubbs at the club for the Vandals of Idaho.
Welcome back, Tribe from the North, brave and bold, to the official, unofficial podcast of your Idaho Vandals and the Vandals affiliate for the Big Sky Podcast Network. Chris is running a little bit late, so I am your Stefan host, Alex Boatman, and we're joined by the godfather of Tubbs at the Club, Sean Kramer.
Hi, how you guys doing? Coming to you from Taipei, Taiwan.
All the way across the ocean. And today we have a really special guest, former Vandal legend, BC Lion and Winnipeg Blue Bomber, Max Forde. Max, how you doing, man?
Doing great. I think legend might be a little bit strong, but I'm very honored to hear that verbiage. So.
Max, I was playing with you for a year, but it was awesome. So before we get going here, we're gonna hit Max. Before I hit Max with some questions, I'd like to remind you that today's podcast is brought to you by Montucky Cold Snacks. Montucky Cold Snacks. Ain't nothing like cracking a Montucky Cold Snack, an ultra refreshing light beer born in majestic Big Sky country. The best part is, when you crack a snack, you're giving back. Montucky Cold Snacks donates 8% of all profits back to local causes, even right here in Idaho, supporting organizations like the CW Hogs and Idaho Food Bank. Yeehaw! That's freaking awesome. Montucky Cold Snacks, the light American lager for pow pow rippers, gator wranglers, pony riders, and badass do-gooders. Visit MontuckyColdSnacks.com to figure out how to get yo ass some snacks. All right. First time doing the ad read. I hope I did all right. Hopefully Chris thinks that's good. But Max, good to see you. It's been a few years since I've seen you, probably since you came back for a homecoming. We're now both just living in Seattle area. I know I am. Are you over here right now?
I'm in Arizona, actually.
Oh, Arizona. See, I came over to your homeland and you left. Went for the warm weather.
That's why I'm sweating a little bit.
Yeah. Max, to get started off here, just kind of talk us through, maybe playing high school ball at Woodinville and then how you kind of ended up in Idaho.
Yeah. So, I started playing high school ball at Woodinville. It was a 3-year high school back then, 4-year high school now. But, so my first year in high school ball was my sophomore year. Pretty much scout team, got to play when we blew teams out. We didn't really lose a whole lot, so mostly when we blew teams out. And then my junior year, I worked my way into a starting role. We had a pretty senior-laden team, and my biggest, I didn't want to let those guys down, so I was just trying to play the best I could for that. College wasn't really on my radar. I think it was my third game that junior year was back then it was Quest Field, CenturyLink Field now, downtown Seattle, and there was a scout there from one of those recruiting services or whatever, and I remember somebody came up to me a couple weeks later and was telling me like there's this write-up about me from that little showcase from we played Eastlake High School in that game. I had a good game, that game, and so that was kind of my first time where I was like, wow, maybe I can play collegiately, and from there I started getting some mail from different schools. I think my first recruiting letter was from Stanford, which was pretty cool. Didn't end up really getting any much farther than that in the recruiting process with them, but that was kind of cool. And then, sorry, my dog's got on a little bit, but no, Idaho, Washington State, Air Force, Army, and there was Wyoming were the 5 schools that ended up offering me. They all offered me kind of between the March, like the end of my junior year, and I think between March and maybe May right there, maybe May, June. So like within a couple month window, I got all 5 of the offers I ended up having, and just the relationship I had with the coaching staff that was there at the time is kind of what led me to University of Idaho. To this day, I still hit up my old D-line coach, Coach Enna, from time to time. Yeah, he's I don't know, obviously my dad is like number one father figure in my life, but Coach Enna is somebody I'm not related to, like that's one of the top father figures I've had in my life. So
You're a very recognizable figure around Moscow when he was there.
oh yeah, no, he's a man's man, and he treated you like family. Like he would have us over. His wife would cook for us sometimes, and I went up to his office and would just talk on days off, even just to talk football, talk life, talk everything. So he's a very special person to me for sure.
He's up at Eastern now, I think, still, isn't he?
Yep. Yeah, he's a D coordinator over there now.
Awesome.
Sorry,
Sean?
Yeah, it's a good job. Yeah, what was it? So, I mean, connections with the coaching staff is really important, but, with so many other schools and things to consider, what was it about Idaho when you got to the campus, when you got to explore the school? What was it about Moscow and Idaho that really just, you were like, this is it, this is my spot?
So for me, I remember we spoke with Mario Reyes. He was the representative from the business school. That was something that I knew I wanted to do, was go to get my major in a business field. I wasn't sure which discipline quite yet, but I knew I wanted to do business. And so Mario Reyes was, I should say Dr. Reyes was the one that met with me. And he kind of talked to me about the College of Business and Economics there at Idaho, and the integrated business curriculum, IBC, which I understand is they've changed it since then, but I think that was something that was pretty unique that a lot of places didn't have. But past that, just, I don't know, the environment on campus is very welcoming. There's something for everybody, really. I wasn't really somebody who was a big partier in high school by any means. When I went on some of my other trips, my host would try to take me to parties and stuff, and that wasn't really for me. Went on my visit to Idaho. They had actually another Woodinville guy. I never played with him because he's a bit older than me, but Aaron Lavarius was my host.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's a legend too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a beast. I look up to him immensely. But he was my host, and he wasn't taking me to all of those parties that the guys at the other schools were, and he was kind of doing the kind of stuff that I like to do. And I just kind of kick back, relax, hang with the guys. I can I can get him a treat real quick so he can be quiet.
Hey, no problem.
I'm sorry. Here.
You're all right.
I know we're live.
Hey, man, it's a hard life being a dad. It's a hard life being a dad.
especially to a child that likes to bark so much as a dog.
Oh my God, yeah. So I can't get a dog yet, man. They're a huge commitment. Hey, but Max is living that married life.
Yeah, okay. I swear he only does this when I'm on the phone or I'm on a Zoom call. He knows when he can get
it. He wants the attention, man. He wants
attention.
Hey, man, you signed up for it. You wanted to be a dad.
Oh, he's awesome, man. I wouldn't trade it for the world. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So we okay, so you talked about your visit, Moscow, kind of how you got recruited. Talk about I think a lot of kids when they get to college, you have expectations, you kind of have a vision in your head, and then sometimes it probably doesn't match reality. What were the toughest things about adjusting to college? What are some things that you didn't expect, about playing college football, and some things that you were really maybe pleasantly surprised with?
That's a good question. I would say, as far as not expecting, when you come, so pretty much everybody, Alex can attest to this for sure. When you're coming out of high school to play college ball, you're coming there because you were really good in high school. So there's a lot of guys that are coming in the best of the best at their school and now trying to play at the next level. And so to do that, you got to have a little bit of a mindset where you think you're really good. And coming in as a freshman, sometimes you find out you're maybe not as good as you think. So I had to work really hard to kind of get past, I don't know, you have those welcome to college kind of moments. Mm-hmm. I remember I got up there, it was, I believe, late June or early July of before my freshman year. Joined the weight program, and I remember my first day in the weight program, one of our assistant strength coaches, his name was Nate. I was struggling. He could see it. He could see I was working hard, but I was struggling. He came up to me after the workout. He told me, Rome wasn't built in a day. And I mean, that's one of those things everybody's heard before. And like I'd heard it 100 times before, but that day kind of really resonated with me. And I got to work on that. And I remember going to fall camp though, and I still wanted to take on the biggest and baddest guys. We were doing board drills, and I remember at the time, two probably best offensive linemen that we had would have been Matt Cleveland and Tyrone Novikov. And so
NFL guys, right?
Oh yeah. Both of them. And so I decided I was a true freshman. I didn't really care though. I didn't like I wanted to compete with the best. And so we were doing board drills, which for those that are listening that don't know, board drill, just line up a board and you get two guys on either side. And you just basically, it's a battle of wills. And sometimes, I guess, in this case, probably just straight up strength because I wasn't strong enough yet. But you just get whoever can push the other guy off the end of the board basically wins. And so, I decided I was going up against Tyrone, and he beat me pretty handily. And I got a little injury from that, but it was all good. I bounced back and redshirted. It was a good year for me to kind of learn the ropes and just improve. And nobody likes redshirting, but I think at the end, everybody who did redshirt will tell you that last season they got out of it, they're better for it because I mean redshirt senior year is gonna most likely be better than what you would have been as a true freshman. So
yeah,
Max, I'll tell you for that. My freshman year was your last year there. Is with Petrino's second year, but you went through 3 head coaches in your time there in Moscow. You came in as an Yankee guy. He got fired halfway through 2012.
Yes.
Coach Gesser, and then Coach Petrino. Just kind of wanted you to elaborate on maybe the differences, some highs and lows with each coach, favorite and unfavorite parts, I guess. Just anything you got.
Shoot. I mean, there's a lot of, I don't know. It's hard to say really because like for me, I was just focused on trying to help the team win. There's definitely some differences, I guess. Coach Akey, I know everybody sees him. He's a guy that you could talk to. He's like calling everybody Bubba and all that kind of stuff, and got that voice.
How y'all doing today?
Oh yeah. And for the recruiting visits, he'd have these big old steaks that are, I think, from I forget where it was. It's somewhere there on campus. They have this. They make the steaks right there, like Vandal meats or something. I don't know, but big old steak for the recruiting visits. And so like he was very, definitely a very approachable guy. But when he got mad, you didn't want to be his way. He could definitely flip that switch and be intense. It wasn't just all buddy all the time, but I was cool with that. I think most guys were cool with that because that he was gonna be able to go to bat for you no matter what the situation was. As long as you were willing to put your best foot forward, he was going to do the same. And so I always appreciated that with him. And he's another big reason why through the recruiting process I ended up at Idaho probably. And then Coach Gesser, yes, he was around for a bit, but only as the head coach, obviously, for 4 or 5 games, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Maybe more. But, I mean, he was a guy, it was kind of funny because I'm going to whisper this maybe a little bit because it's obviously a Vandal podcast, and I'm a Vandal through and through now. But when I grew up, I was a little bit of a Cougar fan. Both my parents went to Wazoo, and so I remember when he was the quarterback there and took him to the Rose Bowl, and like I was a huge Washington State fan back in that time, and so it was kind of cool to get to work with him in a more personal setting and get to know him a little bit more. As a coach, he's definitely a younger guy, but you could see that he was willing to put in any kind of work that he had to do to have success. And I remember after he finished that interim role and they were doing interviews and everything.
Yeah, he really tried to get that job.
he was very prepared for that interview from everything I've heard, and so.
Yeah, I heard he prepared like a binder on with a page on every single player and on how to improve them, and presented that to the president of the university.
Yeah, and so like that's exactly like that's the kind of guy he is. Like he is very attention to detail, and I just felt like those couple games that we had, even though it was a tough situation because you never want to see your coach get fired mid-season. That was something that was obviously tough, but having him come in, I thought was those few games was a good little run, and we opened things up a little bit defensively. It was kind of fun to do that too. Would have been better if we, obviously, over the 4 years that I played, we didn't have a lot of success in the win column, so this could apply to all these stories, but it would have been better if we won. But yeah, the defensive packages, we got to do a little bit more radar, roaming around there, and kind of give different looks to the offense, which was kind of cool in that little stint. And then with Coach Petrino, it was just pretty intense. Yeah, a lot of long scrimmages, long practices.
Oh man, even the journalists got tired, bro. Let me tell you.
Oh, dude, you have no idea. Yeah, some of those. I know you guys might have got tired, but I traded places at the end of some of those. I remember one time, it was the first year he was there. We had a scrimmage in the spring. I believe, it was the spring. And I had a pick six, 63 yards, and just called back the number one defense back out for like a 260.
And he makes you run it. He makes you run it all the way to the end zone too, right? Like you can't stop.
Yeah, I don't stop.
That doesn't matter. He could have told me to stop, and I was running that one back to the end zone. I had a chance to carry the ball a lot. He could have told me to take
but this might not ever happen again.
It did not matter. I was running that one back. But then, the number one defense is back out, and man, like that one wasn't so like that was tough, but there were that's not even up there on the top of the list as far as some of the tougher things that we did during that time. So yeah.
That's not a good word to describe Coach Petrino as intense.
What's that?
Describing Coach Petrino as intense is perfect.
Yeah. I think that's a good adjective. I want to talk about the transition a little bit. And I think all of us who followed this team closely, during the transition, we saw the progress every single year. And obviously, it really culminated in 2016. So I want to just tell you something from the heart, and then I want to ask you kind of a question about that day in 2016. Yeah. One thing that I will always remember is when I ran on the field to celebrate, I saw Dallas Sandberg and Jake Manley. Now, they had graduated the year before, and I saw that they were really happy, but I can kind of see that they really wished that they were kind of still suited up. So I let them know that what was happening in that game was because of them and the work that they put in to put their arms around the younger guys. And I feel the same way about you too, because staying there during the transition and being a leader, it really means a lot for the development of the culture and the program. What was that night in 2016 like for you? I mean, the conversations that you had with guys, the feeling that you had, the pride that you had that you were very much a part of what happened on that night.
What you described with Jake and Dallas, what you saw in their eyes probably could apply as well. It's great to see the school have success, have the guys that you played with have that success, and I was so happy for those guys. But it's tough when you don't get to be there for it. Put in a lot of work, and I was glad that it paid off for the program. It just sucks when you're not there for it, to be honest. But that day was pretty cool. I probably have a little bit of a unique story because I actually arrived back in the United States on that day.
Really?
For my first trip over to Europe. So at the time, so I'm married now. I had been dating my wife at that time. It would have been, I don't know. There it is. At that time,
Better than a bull ring.
It's not. It's better. Oh, you said it's better than a bull ring. Yes, it is. My bad. I think that's not a bull ring. My bad. Yes, it is better than a bull ring, but I would also like a bull ring. Like,
Yeah.
2 would be good, but it is better than the bull ring. But no. So at that time, I've been dating my wife for, let's see, that would have been about a year and a half. And so also my sister was playing basketball over in Germany, and so we started off.
Allie, conference champion multiple times.
Oh yeah, it was really fun. I got to go see them win the conference one time in Vegas. I want to say I was 2014.
She was a freshman. She was a freshman that year.
Yeah. Oh shoot, they won 3 times I think while she was there, so it was hard to keep it straightened out.
Let's go. Yep.
But so at that time she was in Germany, and so we flew to Germany. I flew to Germany alone. My wife met me there, then girlfriend, and she's from Budapest, Hungary originally. So we took about, I think it was 5 or 6 days in Germany where I was playing. We got to watch one of her games, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It was just a little bit south of Munich, and got to go kind of see Munich a little bit, go to the Christmas markets, which my wife will tell you I absolutely adore Christmas markets, and it's probably true. It is true.
It's no Leavenworth, Washington.
Oh, Leavenworth is dope too. Yeah. But it's not quite the same, but it's Leavenworth's awesome. But so yeah, we did Germany. Went to then after a couple days, 6 days there, we went to Venice for 2 or 3 days, and then to Rome for about 5 days, and then went back to Budapest, where my wife is from, and I got to hang with her family over there. And then, so yeah, on the day of the bowl game was the day I got back from, I think it was about 3-week total trip over in Europe. And so I got back to my dad's apartment. I was hella jet lagged. Tired as hell. We turned on the TV though as soon as I got in. I think it was I want to say either the second or the third quarter. I can't remember. But there was already a ton of points scored in the game. I can't remember the score at that point in time. And then we just pulled away. It was so cool seeing. I think if I remember correctly, I want to say I gotten home in time for Jordan's one-handed grab. That was
oh my god, that was right in front of me, man. I was just like, this is not real life. Oh my god.
Oh yeah,
it was cold. It was cold.
Oh yeah, it looked like the field was a hockey rink out there.
It was.
Yeah, it was. It was just fun watching the guys do their thing, have fun out there, and get that payoff of winning a bowl game after everything that they've gone through, all the work they put in. So.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You were definitely a part of that, and helping turn around the culture, putting your arm around the young guys, and transitions are never easy, and guys like you made it easier.
I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, I can say when I came as a freshman, Maxx is someone definitely all the young guys looked up to back in those days when we were winning one game. So, definitely guys like him in Dallas and Manly helped turn it around. And I kind of want to touch on that 2014 team that I was a part of, Maxx. And it's interesting. I kind of want to transition to your time in the CFL. So that 2014 Idaho team has now 3 NFL players, and it's had 2 guys now playing the CFL. You're talking about Jesse Davis with the Dolphins, Elijah Penny with the Giants. Talking about Jake Luton now with the Jags, and then you and Dave Unger, both spent some time in the CFL. A school like Idaho, not everyone makes it pro. So it's kind of when you talk about what it's like, how a team actually has those, and in that time actually gets guys to go pro. But then what is it like, being a professional athlete? How tough is it?
I mean, yeah. So the first part of the question was having that kind of talent, you said?
Yeah, with a team that wins one game.
Yeah.
How does that team have 5 or 6 guys and them going pro, and then kind of the dedication and what's it like having it be your actual job?
Yeah. Okay. So having all that talent, it was frustrating because I always felt like I'm an eternal optimist, and every offseason we come off a 1-win season, a 2-win season, whatever. Every offseason, I was like, this is going to be the year we're going to turn it around. I saw all this talent we had around us. I saw the work we were putting in. I saw the work this coaching staff was putting in. I really felt like every year was going to be the year. Like that's a big reason I stuck it out. Sorry, he's going crazy again, but that's a big reason I stuck it out was because
yelling, "Go Vandals!"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's he's wearing the black jerseys.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I know we're doing a little bit more silver in the color scheme now, but back when I was playing, it was black. So
yeah, you have the
home uniform. But nah. So just I always believed it was going to be the year, and unfortunately, while I was there, it wasn't. But yeah, like you said, we had the talent there. There's a lot of guys that have gone pro, and I just think that the work that it takes is it's just staying focused, staying dedicated to your craft. It's something that I knew I wanted to do, and I tried to make sure that I minimized any distractions, anything that would take me off that path. And I tried to maximize the things that would help me become better, become a better player. And just like going from high school to college, going from college to pro ball, you're going to learn a ton of new things. I'm sorry if he's ruining the broadcast.
No, it's all good.
He's good.
It's part of the family.
Yeah. But nah, you just learn a ton of new things. Like I remember my first like probably week or so in college, I remember thinking, man, if I knew all this stuff when I was in high school, I would have been this so much better. Like obviously I was good enough high school player to go play collegiately, but if I knew just those like little things that I learned in the first week of college, I felt like I would have dominated the high school competition. And the same thing going to professional ball. So like when you're learning all this stuff, it's a lot to take in. You just got to be kind of pliable and just kind of be a sponge and soak it all in. And for me, a big thing that I think led to me being able to stick with the team professionally was kind of picking the minds of the veterans. Same thing collegiately, really. You said that a lot of the younger guys looked up to me, which I think that's awesome. But for me, I had the guys like Aaron Lavarius, like a Michael Cosgrove, the guys even on the other side of the line that I got to compete against, like Tyrone Novikov, Matt Cleveland, Sam Tapua, Jesse Davis on the same side and against.
Yeah,
it was a good experience. It prepared me to play professionally, and made a lot of good friends along the way too.
Do you have any good battles with guys like Aaron Grimes? Just kind of like talking matches.
Like in college or professionally?
In the pros, because I know you guys were both around Canada a lot.
Yeah. So we both played defense though, so we weren't really on the field at the same time. But every time before the game, because I used to like to go to the stadium before we had to be there, because like the team warm-ups I think started an hour and a half or so before the game, and normally in-house I think was about 2.5 or 3 hours before. And I used to like to go to the stadium about another hour and a half or 2 hours before that, just to kind of relax, get mentally focused, and then start like a little bit of my own warm-up with maybe a couple of the other defensive linemen there. And so being there that early, you kind of can be a little bit more relaxed, less intense, and kind of ramp that up as you get closer to kickoff. But Grimes was typically there also around that same time, so we'd both be out on the field. We say what's up and kind of kick it for maybe a minute or two before went back to doing our routine and get ready to try to beat each other.
He's also a famous father of dogs, so he might be able to give you some advice.
Oh yeah. He might be able to give me some advice to help him start barking a little bit.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted to. Oh, sorry, Sean. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, well, I wanted to ask about Jesse Davis because it was really fascinating how he was a defensive tackle most of his time at Idaho. The Petrino comes in and he's like, "Well, we're just going to put you at tackle." And lo and behold, he's been with Miami. He just got that contract, and he's starting in the league. were you able to like go against him once he kind of switched sides, and what was that battle like?
Oh yeah.
When you realized like, oh my God, he's a natural at this.
Well, so yeah, it's just crazy because coming in, we were on the same recruiting visit, and I feel like we hit it off right away. We were great friends. Came in, he was a defensive lineman with me. I think he started out at defensive end actually with me, before he got bigger a little bit. Yeah, I think they always kind of knew that was going to happen with him because he had that frame that you could tell he's going to be a big dude. I remember his last game. I think it was his last game playing defensive tackle, which would have been that Utah State game 2012. He hadn't gotten a sack, and we didn't know it was his last game on defense, obviously. But he hadn't gotten a sack, and I really wanted to get him a sack. And I think it was a screenplay that they had called, and he got the tackle, and I thought he got a sack, and we were all like celebrating. And then we, after the game, we found out they said it was a quarterback draw on the statistics sheet, so they counted as a tackle for loss. And so I was trying to get us to petition just to get him the sack. I was mad, but I know this has nothing to do with the question you asked, but that's just
that's a funny story.
That's something that I always remember. But as far as going against the guy, at first, like he was obviously a big athlete. He's a great athlete for a guy that size. You don't see guys move like that at the size he is very often.
I think it was at Louisiana Tech. Didn't he have a touchdown that same year? He recovered a fumble.
He did. You might be pulling something I don't remember because I can't remember. He might have.
I think I remember he recovered a fumble. I don't know. I don't think he ran it back very far.
It's ringing some bells a little bit.
Yeah,
but I would have to look up the stat sheet on that. But
I might look that up right now.
I think he might have. But yeah, going against him when he was on offense, at first, he was just a raw athlete out there doing that. He played tight end in high school, which you don't have to really block like that. in high school, he's nothing against 2A ball, but it's not collegiate football.
Hey, that Soton team was pretty good though back in the day.
What's that?
That Soton team was pretty good back in the day.
I'm not saying they were bad. I'm just saying the competition they faced wasn't the competition we were facing at Idaho.
And I think he played tight end too. I don't think he even played tackle.
That's what I said. I said he played tight end.
Huh?
I said he played tight end.
Oh yeah.
Big number 99.
I would go and watch those games.
Okay.
I'd go watch those games when I was a kid.
Oh yeah.
My mom was from the Soton. I watched Jesse when I was a kid, which is pretty funny.
Oh yeah, no, he was a beast, man. Like I say, he had that frame always, and the learning curve for him was so steep. Like, just kept getting better and better every day, and eventually, obviously, he was good enough to get a shot in the league, and took him a while to give him a real shot, but once he got that shot, I mean, he's been starting for this is going to be his third season as a starter out there now, and so.
Okay, I found the play. It was Louisiana Tech had 2nd and 6 at the Idaho 9. Robert Ciavie forced the fumble. Jesse Davis took it 84 yards. To the one, and then James Baker ran it in on the next play.
I forgot about that.
This close.
Okay, I forgot about that, but now that you tell me, I remember this play because I remember in film the next day, we watched that play, and I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't be calling him out, but I got love for him. So Vince Keener missed a block on that play that would have sprung Jesse for the touchdown. He was looking to peel back when he just should have looked forward, and he would have made that block. Jesse would have scored, but
so he made it to the one, and then James Baker vultured his touchdown.
Matt, I got to make sure I say got mad love for Vince though too, but just missed that one block.
Max, 2-part question. First of all, who's a better athlete, you or your sister? And then 2, favorite moment as a Vandal athlete?
I'm my sister's biggest fan. I've always told people she's more naturally athletic than I am. I feel like I had to work for it a little bit harder than she did.
She played two sports too.
Huh?
She played two sports too, pretty well.
Oh yeah, she was a beast. But I always tell her, even though she's more athletic, I got a few pounds on her. On the basketball court, I would just back her down. She's definitely more skilled than I am, but I'm not afraid. I'm not too proud to just use my weight against her. So
she'll foul, and she won't call it.
Oh, that's okay. I'm used to that. They used to foul me all the time. It was the hack-a-shack principle because I got 50% free throws in high school. That was the second question. I'm sorry.
Favorite moment as a Vandal athlete?
Shoot. Favorite moment as a Vandal athlete? Oh, that's tough. I was gonna say. So yeah, I mentioned earlier that we obviously didn't win a lot when I was there, and that was tough. But one of them that sticks out was that win against, I think it was against Temple at homecoming.
2013. That was the first win with Petrino.
Yeah,
that's when Temple was part of the BCS still.
Yeah.
I think Matt Rule was the head coach, NFL head coach now. They had Robbie Anderson, who also NFL wide receiver. They had a guy that I actually trained with out here when I was training for when I was playing professionally, Deion Dawkins, who's now I think he just got an extension with the Buffalo Bills. He was an offensive lineman, but he was a freshman back then, I think. So I don't even know if he was playing, but that was I just remember because that was a game that could have went either way there at the end. I remember chasing down that quarterback with Marius on the very last play. And I don't know how he got the ball down to the goal line because me and Marius both hit him. And he was rolling against his arm, which, I don't know, it was incredible arm strength. But luckily the ball hit the ground and we took that W. And I don't know, I felt like the game was just kind of on and we won the game and it was a great feeling.
Chad Chalish was balling out that day, just running all over the place. Yeah, that was a good game for him. And I remember the post-game press conference, how emotional Paul was. He was so excited to bring his daughter in and start that tradition. And it was really emotional because you could see in his eyes just how much work he put in and how much he wanted it for you guys.
Yeah. Like that game was, particularly stands out, I guess.
I mean, that started it. I mean, that goes back to what I was talking about, man. I mean, you gotta get used to the feeling of winning, and that started it. I know it was still a struggle still after that, but it was a process.
Yeah, it was like you said, and also another part of that memory, I guess, not necessarily the game day, but the day before, just at the bonfire, getting to speak to the Vandal faithful. Get them hyped up, get ready to get nasty and inebriated for us. So always.
Sean, do you have one more question for Max?
What are you up to these days, man? What's next for Vandal legend Max Forde?
Like I said earlier, I think legend might be a little bit much, but I appreciate that. But what's next for me? So I just finished my master's degree in business analytics at Arizona State.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get a career started up in that, and just kind of have that go where it takes me. See where that takes me, and I'm just excited to get going with that because obviously I have a passion for football. That's why I did it for so long, but it doesn't last forever. And analytics is something that I think is pretty cool. Just trying to make more sense out of the world. You don't make perfect sense out of it ever, but if you can make a little bit more sense with the numbers, I think it's kind of fun. And it's a fun pursuit for me. I'd like to get deep into it and make a solid career out of that. So,
well, we got Vandals all over the world doing big things, and so we look forward to seeing what this Vandal down in Arizona is going to do.
And Max, before we let you go, we do a little thing called Getting Nice. So it's where you get to ask us any question. It can be anything, sports, non-sports. So we've kind of put you on the spot with it, but we're going to do an ad read real quick so you can kind of think of a question.
Yeah.
So think of a question for us real quick. I'm going to do an ad read, and then we'll come back to you. So have your summer plans been canceled? Are you having a hard time finding a backup plan? Well, don't fret and don't look too far away. There are amazing options right out your back door that offer the ultimate mix of fun and adventure. Venture into the largest protected wilderness in the continental United States for the ultimate form of social distancing. Hughes River Expeditions has run first-class trips on rivers in the West since 1976. Enjoy a multi-day trip down the Middle Fork of the Salmon, the Salmon River Canyons, the Selway, or even special trips like one to see the Parasite meteor shower. Camp on pristine beaches, hike amazing trails, spot wildlife, soak in the beautiful natural hot springs, take in the history along the river, fish some of the most remote stretches of the lower 48, and let Hughes River Expeditions handle everything else. Hughes River Expeditions is Vandal owned and operated and is ready to take you on a vacation of a lifetime. HRE is booking trips now through 2023. Don't miss out on a once-in-a-lifetime trip right here in the Gem State. You can check them out at hughesriver.com or give them a call at the Hughes River Expedition office. What are you waiting for? Find out what it's like to grab a paddle, catch dinner, and ride the bull on world-class rivers right here in the Northwest. Call them now at 800-262-1882. Again, 800-262-1882. There's never been a better time to get out in the fresh air in the Idaho backcountry. All right, Max. Hopefully that long ad read gave you some time to think about some questions for us. What do you got?
You said questions multiple? Or?
You can ask us one question to one of us or both. It's up to you. It's all up to you.
All right. So I got one question for both of you guys. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to go for it. So what makes Liverpool the best English Premier League team?
Okay, bye.
All right, I'm gonna kick him out of here.
Man.
Sean, that hurts me worse than it should hurt you, so it's okay.
Okay, I'll go first. I have a huge amount of respect for Jurgen Klopp and what he's doing there. You know, they have a little bit of financial constraints, and I don't know. He's like the Greg Popovich of Europe, man. Guys just get to him, and he just identifies their weaknesses immediately and just eliminates them. And the way they played, just so focused this year was really impressive to watch. Hopefully we can get back to that next year. In case the listeners don't know, Manchester City right here. I'm very sad right now. But huge respect for Liverpool. Oh, but we gonna take it back next year. We're gonna take it back next year.
All right. Since the blue side of Manchester's done talking, I'll speak for the red side. Okay. You know, they were not the greatest season ever. I'm gonna say either the 100-point season, the Centurions. I'm gonna either say the Invincibles or the first treble winners of United back in '99. But the Liverpool season, they won one trophy. It's okay.
They hold three right now.
Yeah, they don't hold it. I mean, they lost. Let's see, they lost the FA Cup.
He's talking about the European Super Cup and the Club World Cup.
The European Super Cup and the Club World Cup. Club World Cup don't count. Who did they play? Flamingo? Like, come on. Like,
well, they're not. And they're not going to be able to hold those now.
But exactly. So they're holders of one trophy because the Champions League gets decided on Sunday. PSG is probably going to win. Sorry, Bayern Munich fans. But you know, Klopp, you give respect. God, he annoys me though.
He's so goofy.
You know, the way they use their overlapping fullbacks, they almost are like wingers. Firmino is a joke of a 9, but they could not get it done without him. He finally scored. I think he scored his first Premier League goal at home in like over a year on their last home game. I'm fairly certain.
Won all those games. That's crazy.
Yeah, and they still won all those games because the way they invert their wingers of Salah and Mane to basically run inside and act like true. It's almost like a 4-4-2 if you really want to kind of really get weird about it. But I don't know. Liverpool took them on to win a Premier League. That's all I got to say. I can count 13 that United won in the time that they had last won. So it's a long time to count to 13.
I do want to say on that 100-point thing, maybe if there was a team that was pushing them, they would have made it. Like there was a team pushing City when they scored 100 points. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I'm really relieved that we got to keep that record, man. I thought Liverpool could take it all from us.
Liverpool's first loss to us to a relegated team now, so that's why the Premier League's best league in the world.
Hey, we lost to Norwich City too.
Exactly. Just don't. Even though a team can run away with it, it's still the best league in the world, because never know when a relegation team is going to sneak up on the champions any given day.
Oh yeah. And also, not a question, but just go Kraken.
Go Kraken. Yes, go Kraken. Cannot wait.
Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah. Oh, man, I love the color scheme, the logo, everything, man. Also, Max, I heard that you are quite the fantasy hockey savant from our good friend Theo Lawson.
Yeah. I think I want to say 2 or 3 seasons, and I was in the finals in all 3, and I think I won 2 of those. So.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm also in a fantasy football league with him, and he's pretty bad at that, though.
Max, I got one more question for you before we let you go. Who's won the Stanley Cup?
Shoot. I got to go. So I played my professional ball, most of it in Vancouver, so I got to go with the Canucks, even though I know they're a little bit of a lower-seeded team, but they're hot right now. And once the Kraken start playing, they're going to be our rivals. So once that comes in, I'm not with the Canucks anymore. But for right now, I got it.
Okay. All right. We're good with that.
Awesome. Well, Max, really appreciate you taking time out of your night to talk to us. It's good seeing you again. Always good to talk to a former teammate.
Really good hearing from you.
A former teammate. Let the people know where they can find you, and then we'll see you around.
So, sounds good. Dog says goodbye as well.
Awesome.
All
right. See you, Max.
Take care. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's good to see you. Ooh, that was cool.
Chris.
All right, you there?
That was good. Sorry,
really good.
All of it. That sucks.
No, it's all good, man. You got stuff to do, man. Big shot, Chris.
Yeah. Well, I was up in Max's area too. I was up in Bothell. That's kind of out there by Woodinville too.
Right up there.
Right.
But Chris, thank God you're back.
Good job on the ad read, man.
Yeah, Hughes River one's tough. That's a tough one.
Now you feel the pain. It's not that easy.
My eyes get lost in the lines as I'm reading.
I'm gonna love the people that watch the interview on YouTube and they see me randomly pop in the middle. Forget that I can remove myself from the stream, so I'm not just awkwardly watching the interview. But it was like I wanted to tune in and see what you guys are talking to Max about, because I was excited about this, but you guys had it. I had nothing to contribute there in the middle. So, but that was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really good hearing from him.
Yeah, it's like I think he's still backstage actually too.
Yeah.
Chris, do you want to take it from here for the rest of the time?
We can, sure. So
COVID season news.
We got COVID season news. COVID season news. I mean, I didn't add this on there, but I'm talking about how FCS is done. We officially hit that 60% of the teams aren't in it. So the FCS playoffs has officially been moved. Well, at least been allowed to be moved to the spring. It hasn't been moved, but that just feels like semantics at this point. It's going to get moved to the spring if we play in the spring. But otherwise, I mean, we're not the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12 that think they've got it all figured out. So we'll do what we do. If we have football in the fall, I guess I'll have to find a team to root for down the dirty South. But otherwise, I'm still stoked as ever for Vandals in the spring.
I'm going to talk about the team we should all be rooting for here in the fall if that does happen. But we're gonna be UTEP fans, and I'll give you a couple of reasons why.
All right,
Jim Center, their AD, used to be the associate AD for Idaho for about 10 years, back in the 90s and 2000s. Nick Popwell, their associate AD, Idaho grad, Idaho guy, one of my mentors in my profession. He's the associate AD at UTEP for external operations.
Oh man, that's
so
a
couple of Vandals.
Was it Nick Popwell, the architect of Throw the V?
I don't know. He was the marketing guy back in the. Yeah,
if it is, you lost me now.
But the two top guys in the athletic department are Vandals, so it's the second farthest team out west, minus the BYU Cougars. So I think we're UTEP Minor fans this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Mike Price was there for a while too, so I could get behind
Yeah,
the
another
Miners.
Blues connection. And I've been to El Paso, driven by that stadium.
Yeah.
It's,
And if
it's
you're
okay.
you're a Friday Night Lights fan, they get a lot of Odessa and West Odessa kids out there. So
Exactly. So UTEP Miners, that's my recommendation for Vandal fans for the fall if the fall does happen. Conference USA is still playing. But I kind of want to talk about, I keep up every day with like college football news and what's kind of going on. Kind of some reports coming out is that there's talk of, it's getting pushed to the Oversight Committee for Football, already passed the first committee, 12 hours a week of practice for teams in the fall who are going to play in this. That's an organized activity, whether it be a lift meeting. So it sounds like we're going to be 12 hours a week. Don't know what number of practices look like yet, how that's going to be thrown into there. And then there's a large push from players, even some athletic directors who, actually the chair of the Oversight Committee for Division I football, West Virginia AD, wants to grant everyone an extra year of eligibility, even if they play this fall or spring. Just wipe this year from their eligibility, let them play, give them another year. I know Sam Ellinger, the Texas quarterback, voiced some opinions to the Athletic today on that. And then I also have heard that West Virginia's AD, the chair of the Oversight Committee for Division I football, wants to push that through as well. So guys maybe like Cade Coffey or Mike Beaudry, we could be maybe seeing it for the Vandals in the spring of 21 and maybe even the fall of 21. So if that could be big news, for us. See how that plays out. So
that's big development from what Dan told us just last. Well, I guess by the time this airs, 2 weeks, but where they had like nothing planned, and it looks like they've made a lot of progress in the week. So that's at least good to see that they're moving.
In the Southwest Athletic Conference, one of the HBCU leagues in the FCS did formally announce an 8-game conference schedule starting February 27th, I want to say, with 8 weeks of practice leading up to that, and then the conference championship on May 1st. So
that gives us the outline of the season, basically, of what we should expect it to.
Yeah,
length.
so that's the first with the one bye week, I think, in mid-March. So that is the first formally announced spring schedule outlook. So that's something we should kind of look for. I've always been pushing the March-April block. I think that's what we'll see is March-April, maybe in February, first part of May. So just keep an eye.
Only thing to remember with the SWAC too, when you're going like May 1st end date, you're like, wow, that seems really late. One thing to think about is the fact that they don't participate in the FCS playoffs. Right. So they do the Celebration Bowl, so they only have to worry about one extra game. I would expect the teams that compete in the playoffs have their season end probably earlier in April. And I would still think that the championship game is probably going to be over Labor Day weekend or first weekend in June. I don't think we're going to go.
I think you mean Memorial Day weekend. If it was Labor Day, it would be a little late in the year.
I would expect Big Sky to end probably like third weekend of February or April, probably.
Yeah, and I think the SWAC was planning on having a conference championship game and then playing the Celebration Bowl after that. So maybe a total of 10 games for the champion of their league. So, but that's just kind of what I have for COVID season news. We're starting to see some things maybe at least get announced, or we have some idea. We're not as completely in the dark as we were even last time we talked. So,
which is it's really good and optimistic because you have to respect that these schools are really trying to look out for the safety of the students and the student athletes, but you also have to realize, man, they're in such a tough spot financially. Of football has to be played. Football has to be played for
if
a
you
lot
want
of
to
these.
Play any other sport.
Yeah, for these athletics departments to survive. So it makes me feel really good that conferences and schools in the FCS are balancing that thoughtfully, coming up with plans, and hopefully, if you have athletes on campus, we can have plans to protect them as well. This is such a tough spot.
Yeah. So are we on the transfer portal now?
I think we're on the transfer portal.
Do we have any transfer portal news other than keep writing the Eastern Washington border regions?
Keep emailing Eastern border regions to hire Chuck Staben. We're now on the hire Chuck Staben train, not the fire Chuck Staben train.
Yeah, Sean, you gave a face like I don't think you saw last week's episode, did you? Where Brian Marceau shared the Eastern Washington Board of Governors email. So he goes, hey, the Eastern Washington's president just stepped down. He goes,
Oh my
everybody
gosh!
in Idaho knows
You guys looking for a guy? We know a guy.
We got a guy.
we know a guy. So everybody to Idaho, write them and say, we've got this guy. He's a professor on our campus. You could probably give him a pay raise, and he'd be
Has
super
administration
into it.
experience.
Yeah, he has presidential experience. Budget crisis, like, if you're a faculty and you want to maybe drop down a level in football, the Great Northwest Athletic Conference,
G-Neck.
fit for Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
National rival.
Central is a new rival. Yeah. Western's gone.
Western
Central needs a
Oregon.
new rival.
Yeah.
It's more academically on Eastern's level.
Simon Fraser.
Exactly. So I don't have the email with me, but I think it was like EWU Regents at ew.edu. So give them a ride or listen to about the last 5 minutes of last week's episode. I did not send an email though, so my homework was incomplete. Give me an F for it.
I love it. I love it.
All right, Alex, you ran the whole podcast. I think you run Closing the Bar too, man. I don't want to hijack your solo show here. I'm doing my best, Bobby Houck. Don't have a link.
Oh my god.
Shoreline backyard, so not quite Flathead Lake, but
No.
doing my best. Gotta work with what you got.
Yeah, I guess closing the bar now. Look for us to have more interviews coming up throughout the fall. Now that our fall non-conference season is officially canceled. The last time we spoke to you guys, that hadn't happened yet. We're still planning on playing Temple September 12th somehow, but that's now officially solved. We're probably going to keep it bi-weekly, moving on from here. So look for us, every other Thursday on podcasts and Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, or watch us on YouTube. We'll be announcing who we have interviews coming up with throughout. Closing the bar. Chris, I guess they don't know where to find you. If they don't, it's on the screen for those who are watching.
If
And
not,
then
it's _P_Hammond.
Yeah. And Sean, happy that you joined us. So we're letting people know who don't listen to us all the time where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter at @SKramerWrites. Hit me up. I want to talk Vandals more often. I'm homesick. I miss my Vandal family. I miss Seattle. I miss Moscow. I miss the club. Oh, I need a tub so bad. I miss Rainier beer. I miss Montucky cold snacks, man, which you can also get at the club.
I need a snack right now.
Oh,
They need to get the taps going at the club. They got it. They sell Montucky on tap in like Colorado. They need to get it up Moscow too.
They have snacks at the club.
yeah, they do.
No,
I've had
on draft.
On draft.
Yeah, they only have it on draft in Colorado. I want a tub of Montucky.
That would be all you gotta do is just get 2 tall boys and ask the bartender for a
But then it's not $250, Yeah, what kind of money do you have in Moscow? What kind of stipend?
I'm a
feeling.
I'm a Coors Light tub kind of guy, so
No wonder our athletic department's in a deficit. The players can afford 2 tall boys of Montucky at the club.
hell yeah! If you're lucky enough, you might get a free one.
All right. It's good seeing you, Sean. Alex, good job. God, I'm excited to watch this back and listen to the Maxx interview. Yeah.
Be awesome.
Good Vandal. You guys covered that he's like the number 5 prospect we've ever had.
I think that actually got mentioned.
Yeah. According to 247 Sports, 5th best recruit we've ever had. And then ironically, number 4 is Mike Marbo. Same class. Wenatchee, I want to know if those 2 ever had some brawls, because that's offense versus defense right there.
Yeah, Mike's the one he never mentioned. He talked about a bunch of offensive linemen and going against them. I don't think they ever played.
He was Mike was always on the interior.
Mike always played center. And Max is an outside guy. But I was thinking about when talking about all the guys who are in the pros off that 2014 team. It's kind of weird to think about. Like, wait a minute.
Was Quentin Bradley too? He got some time.
Yeah, Quentin Bradley graduated after 2015.
I remember and handed on the practice squad. He never really broke out in the pros, but he had a practice squad for the BC Lions for a while. I guess. I forgot about Mason Woods, also the CSL guy.
Yep.
Forget about Mason because he's so quiet, but
big.
My parents were great friends. But yeah, so there's at least 7 Vandals on that 1-win 2014 team.
So wait. So the
Made it pro.
takeaway, if you're a Vandal, you got to pull for the BC Lions. Like, that's just fact now.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
All right.
Awesome.
Time for the best band in all the land. Play us out.
Yes. Oh my God, I need to hear it. Oh yes.
Go Vandal.
Go Vandals.
In heaven there is no big.